It's Friday, July 31st. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. A bumpy ride. Passengers struggle for answers as a possible WestJet strike looms. How is the ski hill's giant mound of snow standing up to hot, sunny weather?
Well, I didn't think I'd hear the word snow heading into the August long weekend. I will have the forecast for the long weekend coming up.
Live from our Maritimers News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on this Friday. WestJet is beginning to park its fleet of 737 aircraft as negotiations with flight attendants grinds on and a Sunday strike deadline looms. On this, the busiest travel long weekend of the summer, passengers in the Maritimes, many with tickets on those direct flights to Europe, are being told to watch events closely. CTV's Jesse Thomas reports.
Things look normal near the WestJet departure terminal at the Halifax Stanfield International Airport. All flights were on schedule and lineups were moving smoothly this morning. But below the surface was some anxiousness over the possibility of a strike disrupting travel.
And hearing that is like a little disappointing because I'm looking forward to going home on time, and it's I just hope there's no delays. I hope everything's good on their end.
DeAndrea White is flying to Toronto for 3 days before a flight home to Jamaica. She's hopeful the two sides can come to an agreement and avoid a strike.
Knowing that, I will definitely try to arrange something just in case. Hopefully I won't have to though.
WestJet flight attendants filed a 72-hour notice for strike action that could come into effect on Sunday. The union, representing the more than 4,000 cabin crew, says employees should be paid for all work duties, such as ground tasks. WestJet has said all duties are compensated through a credit hour system rather than an hourly rate. But both QP, the union representing the workers, and WestJet, which is the second largest air carrier in the country, continue to bargain for an agreement. There's hope from passengers here on the ground that a deal can be reached to avoid a strike and any disruption to travel during the busy summer season.
I mean, it could have an impact on the industry as well as, extra expenses for everybody. So in that regard, yeah, I hope that it's resolved quickly.
The Halifax International Airport Authority says they're monitoring the situation closely, and if a strike does play out, travel to and from the airport won't be disrupted, but they encourage travelers to arrive early for scheduled flights.
And folks specifically traveling with WestJet, we encourage them to reach out directly to their airline, check WestJet's website for any travel advisories and updates, and then we in turn are amplifying any shared messages on our website and social media channels.
Both sides remain at the bargaining table, so there's still time to reach an agreement and avoid a strike. But until there's a deal, uncertainty remains for thousands of travelers who are heading into the August long weekend, Todd.
Yeah, certainly stressful. CTV's Jesse Thomas leading us off from Halifax Stanfield International Airport. In tonight's CTV web poll, we're asking, do you feel you know your rights as an airline passenger? Your options are yes, no, I'm not sure. In a few minutes, we'll speak with Halifax-based passenger rights advocate Gabor Lukacs about your options if you do have tickets, and you can get strike updates through the weekend and vote on the poll at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. So maybe you're thinking about a road trip instead of flying. Well, there's some rare long weekend good news at the pumps. Let's bring in CTV's Stephanie Seacos, who's been looking into prices. Steph, some smiles around there at the gas stations.
That's right, Todd. After weeks of increases, we finally saw prices drop across the region. That being said, they didn't fall by much. In the Halifax area, gas was down 2 cents a liter to $1.90.6. On Prince Edward Island, gas dropped by a little over 1.5 cents. The minimum price there is just over $2 a liter. Gas in New Brunswick didn't even fall by a full penny. The maximum price there is $1.92.6. Now, as for diesel prices, they were up in the Halifax area, down in New Brunswick, and they stayed the same on Prince Edward Island. And even though gas only changed slightly, drivers will take any wins they can get at the pumps. Todd.
Oh boy, you're right about that. Even a couple of cents. Thank you, Stephanie, at the gas station. And of course, Steph will be here at 11:30 with your late newscast. There have been many housing announcements in New Brunswick over the past year, perhaps none as significant as the one in Moncton today. CTV's Derek Haggett has more on what makes this different.
When Dale Hicks and his housing initiative took possession of this building 2 years ago, he had a vision for what it might look like. The final result is way beyond that vision.
To create 30 units of housing for seniors and have, there's 6 in there that are barrier-free units. And to couple that with the medical clinic on the bottom is just something at that point in time we hadn't realized.
An affordable 30-unit seniors complex is almost complete. It's a nearly $10 million project with funding coming from all 3 levels of government. Built in 1985, the former office space for an insurance company had been sitting vacant for years until Rising Tide purchased it. Massive renovations done on all 3 floors and a Horizon Medical Clinic built on the ground level. 10 doctors with 4 more to come.
I'm pleased to announce that our team will be onboarding every resident without a primary care provider into our patient as soon as they move in.
This is very significant. I was just saying that, we need models like this throughout the province. This is wonderful. This is what we need for our aging population.
The housing minister says Moncton is in an affordable housing crisis, but projects like this help reduce the wait list.
There are now over 4,000 people on the wait list in this community alone for affordable housing. We have well over 500 chronically homeless people living in Moncton.
The units will rent at or below the average market cost for comparable housing. Dale Hicks says the age requirement for tenants is 65 and over, and the first group of seniors should be able to move in by the end of August or early September. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
That's what it looks like right now at the Masstown Market on the highway in Nova Scotia. Dark skies. Let's bring in CTV meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell. Kaylin, you've been watching for some thunderstorms in that area?
That's right. So we have this line of some showers, downpours, and thunderstorms. It's basically extending across the interior of Nova Scotia. It begins right around the southwest, through parts of both the counties of Shelburne and Queens, and then up towards Lunenburg, and then cuts up inland of Halifax, and then extends up towards the Minas Basin and eventually the North Shore. We can take a closer look at it here on satellite and radar, but it's definitely coming in with some downpours. These are sort of slow-moving weather systems. The thunderstorm part of these are kind of actually popping up and then diminishing fairly quickly. So we get some lightning that sparks up for a little bit and then basically comes to an end, then a little bit more lightning picked up. This is going to be ongoing over the next hour at least, but it is driven by our daytime heating. So as we're losing that moving through this evening, I do expect this weather, this band of some showers and some thunderstorms to begin weakening and eventually come to an end. In the meantime, though, there have been some severe thunderstorm watches and warnings issued with these. Lightning, of course, is dangerous at any time, but also because of the higher rainfall rates. And if you drive through one of those, visibility is reduced. You could run into some hydroplaning conditions on the roads. So the warnings are still in effect right now for Queens and Lunenburg County, and then a severe thunderstorm watch for parts of Hants and Colchester counties, and then back over to a warning for Pictou County because there's a downpour thunderstorm in the vicinity of New Glasgow right now, and then a severe thunderstorm watch for Antigonish County. This situation improving as we make our way through this evening. Of course, yesterday we had some downpours in the region as well. And here's a look at some rainfall reports from around the Maritimes. Very varied. You can see a number of areas only picked up around a few to several millimeters of rain. Some other locations, though, some rainfall totals in excess of 30, 40 millimeters, and a couple big standouts, including up around Dover and Guysborough County. A number of volunteer reports there coming in 80, 90 millimeters of rain, and a few spots at Cape Breton as well reported some rainfall totals in excess of 60 and 80 millimeters, including Clyde River and Bonshaw. So this weather system has certainly been unsettled. One of the reasons why some of those higher rainfall totals showed up was because yesterday it was being fed by this stream of moisture that made its way up across the subtropical Atlantic. Most of that has now moved to the east of the Maritimes, but of course we are left with the unsettled conditions that we're continuing with right now. I have one other thing to bring you. I brought this up on CTV News at 5, but earlier this morning, at about 11 a.m., there was an earthquake reported just north of Mont-Joli. If this sounds familiar, it's because this is in the same location that we had an earthquake reported. I think it was about a month and a half ago. This one was a little bit weaker. It was about 3.1 magnitude, and the depth was about 15 kilometers. It was reported as being felt in through parts of Quebec. I haven't seen it being reported yet as felt in areas of northern New Brunswick. But if you do live in a community in the north of New Brunswick, and earlier today you did feel like you felt a little bit of a shake or a little bit of rumble, that was likely the cause. And of course, Todd, when I come back, I'll have an update on those thunderstorms and the long weekend forecast.
Oh, we want that long weekend forecast. Thank you, Kalen. We'll see you in about 15 minutes for that. RCMP in Nova Scotia now believe the recent deaths of 10,000 chickens at a farm near Lunenburg were the result of a deliberate bid to hurt the animals. Investigators have confirmed someone broke into the poultry barn in Pine Grove last Saturday and switched off ventilation fans, which resulted in temperatures inside soaring to 37 degrees Celsius. Now, the Mounties say nothing was stolen from the building and nothing was damaged. They're trying to determine what motivated the crime, adding members of the public are being asked to come forward if they have any information about this case. A former provincial PC cabinet minister turned Liberal, Becky Drouin, wants to be leader of the party in Nova Scotia. The Liberal MLA for Lunenburg made the announcement today. A lawyer, Drouin served as Justice Minister in Tim Houston's government until she left last fall, citing differences with the leadership. She served as an independent until May when she joined the third-place Liberals. Amanda Bombercat is the only other candidate approved so far in the leadership race. There are growing calls tonight for a national alert system for vulnerable people following the death of an 11-year-old Albertan. The autistic boy from Calgary was missing 13 days before his body was found in a culvert. CTV's Anna Mannon spoke with one mother deeply affected by the death.
It's devastating.
Crystal Venator knows all too well the fear many families with autistic children live with. Her son Stalin is autistic, nonverbal, and has complex medical needs. That's why the disappearance and death of 11-year-old Parker Wells in Calgary resonated so deeply with her and her family.
That could be my son. That could be my family. And honestly, seeing somebody living your worst nightmare, it's just devastating.
The similarities don't stop there. Like Parker, Stalin is 11, and he has escaped from home before.
When you're like calling his name and searching for him, it's a terrifying feeling that, it's hard to put into words.
She's joining calls for a national alert system for vulnerable people so that when they go missing, alerts are sent out as soon as possible.
There's no alert system for vulnerable persons in any province or territory in Canada, and so they had to get special permission to issue an alert, and that took 2 days. And we know that when someone goes missing, that time is very critical.
She's not alone. A Change.org petition has garnered over 29,000 signatures proposing an at-risk alert to fill that gap. It was started by a Calgarian mother of an autistic boy, and yesterday federal opposition leader Pierre Poilievre also called for an alert system for vulnerable people.
This is something that is very close to home for a lot, including, a bunch of other leaders that have autistic children.
Meanwhile, Venator says her son wears Project Lifesaver, a radio frequency tracking bracelet, and has since he was 3. She wants them to be more widely available.
Ideally, we would love to see Project Lifesaver available to any family that could use it.
Todd, as Crystal Venator continues her advocacy for her son and for other families living with autism, she hopes to elevate the conversation around emergency alerts in the province and across the country. Todd?
All right, CTV's Anna Madden in Fredericton. Thank you for that, Anna. No vacancy. It's a common sign around the Cabot Trail and elsewhere in Cape Breton this summer. What might be frustrating for visitors, turning out to be good news for tourism operators enjoying what's becoming a banner season. Here's our Ryan McDonald.
If you were looking for a room at this hotel along the Sydney waterfront for the long weekend, you might be out of luck.
Sold out. We have weddings, sports teams coming in, lots of bus tours from Canada, the U.S.
The August long weekend is often one of the busiest on their calendar. This year, that's even more so the case.
100% it is, and you know what? Everybody is ready to go.
Well, the August long weekend is typically the peak of the peak season.
While places like the Cabot Trail are always busy this time of year, the head of Destination Cape Breton says this time rooms are scarce all over the island.
We did a quick scan, and just about everywhere is either completely booked or close to being completely booked. So we should see occupancy rates, above 90%.
Ballparking probably in the vicinity from 500 to 1,000 people from out of town. Probably another 500 to 1,000 of people coming home for the championship.
Looking beyond the long weekend, the Canadian Little League Championship is being held in Glace Bay starting Monday. While teams are being housed at Cape Breton University, others who are not staying with family will be paying for a room.
Well, you went to call a hotel today for a 10-day stay during the championship. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find one. And that includes Airbnbs in the area as well.
Destination Cape Breton says there are still some rooms available here and there, so while you can't quite hang a no vacancy sign over the Canso Causeway for this long weekend, it's pretty close. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
At the height of summer on this long weekend, we're going to talk about snow. Please don't change the channel. You may recall a couple of months back we told you Martok Ski Hill was trying to save a snow pile for next season. Well, today CTV's Callum Smith went back to see how it's doing.
If you think this massive mound of snow looks out of place, you're certainly not alone.
Some people believe we have hot air underneath it, and it's a sophisticated April Fool's joke.
I first introduced you to this snow pile back in April and can prove it's not an April Fool's joke. Before it was tarped, 19,000 cubic meters of snow was piled up. Looking to take advantage of last year's successful season at Martok, reaching 100 days in operation for the first time in a decade. While snow storage is more common in Europe and even BC, Martok's CEO believes this is the lowest elevation where snow-saving efforts like this have been attempted.
We are bridging, 9 months. That's a completely different ballgame, right? It's for sure one of the more challenging climates this has been attempted.
Despite the warm weather, the snow pile is taking summer in stride. Faring better than expected, initial projections figured they'd lose up to 50%. So far, only 15% of the mound has disappeared.
Seeing such low melt so far is absolutely fantastic. What we would love to see is to lose only 35%.
But the worst is yet to come.
We'll see what August does. That's what we were warned by the experts is the toughest month for the survival.
As an aside, they're comparing the insulating geotextile fabric to the old-fashioned way, good old sawdust.
We wanted to run a little experiment. What is the difference in loss of snow?
Looking at early to mid-December for opening, either part of one run and the Bunny Hill or one narrow full run. But they're already setting their snowy sights on the following winter.
We would love to expand the snow storage as well, so we would be able to open just purely on snow from snow storage at least one run.
Callum Smith, CTV News, Martok, Nova Scotia.
So will the forecast help or hurt the snow pile? Well, patchy showers and fog tonight. Kim will have those details along with the long weekend forecast. But next we speak to a passenger's right advocate about what you need to know ahead of that possible WestJet strike.
This is your Campfire Conditions Report brought to you by Pine Acres RV, where customers become friends in the province of New Brunswick. You are currently allowed to have a campfire. For Nova Scotia, campfires are allowed between the hours of 2 p.m. and 8 a.m. And for Prince Edward Island, campfires are permitted with domestic brush burning allowed between the hours of 2 p.m. and 8 a.m. Along with these provincial restrictions, make sure to check in to see if any municipal bylaws or restrictions apply.
Welcome back. As you heard a few minutes ago, the WestJet strike could ground flights as negotiations between flight attendants and airlines continue, if there is in fact a strike. What to do if you have a ticket for this potential strike, or perhaps any other that might be down the line. Gabor Lukács is a passengers' rights advocate. He is based in Halifax. It's good to see you, Gabor. Look, let's get right to it. The airline, WestJet, is allowing ticket holders to cancel their flights. Is this the best thing to do if you've got a ticket?
It's great to be with you. No, it is not. If you got a WestJet ticket, just sit tight, wait until the airline cancels your flight, and then make sure that they rebook you in accordance with your rights that are legislated. The problem is that if you take up on their offer, then you are constrained by WestJet's goodwill policy, which is not a legislated framework. Once they cancel your flight, all your rights under the air passenger protection regulations, and if you travel internationally, the Montreal Convention, come into force.
So if you cancel the flight, you make that decision to do that, you're on your own. There's no recourse at that point.
It's very much true, unfortunately.
Yeah. What's the biggest mistake passengers with tickets can do?
To listen to WestJet's advice and cancel your flight or make changes at this point, or once your flight is canceled, to take a refund. You should never take a refund for a ticket unless you are absolutely sure you don't want to travel anymore. Because if the airline cancels your flight, they have an obligation to rebook you, including on competitor airlines, if it is not possible for them to transport you on their own or partner airlines within a given amount of time. So by taking a refund, you just absolve them of that obligation, and instead of WestJet paying for an Air Canada ticket at a last-minute price, you end up paying that last-minute price out of your own pocket. Okay. And it can be a very significant difference. You may have paid $400 or $500 for a WestJet ticket bought several months ago. If you need to buy an Air Canada ticket now, you're going to pay possibly thousands of dollars.
Right. Okay. So that is a big difference. Look, WestJet, as you know, operates a lot of European flights out of Halifax daily. These are big moneymakers for that airline. You know, I know you're not in the guessing game here, but can they afford to be out on a lengthy strike?
Well, if a flight that operates from Europe to Canada gets canceled while a strike is ongoing, then under the European rules, WestJet will have to pay passengers not just for meals and accommodation, but also for their inconvenience in cash for flights that depart from Europe to Canada. Unfortunately, for flights within Canada or departing from Canada to Europe, there is no such obligation once the strike is ongoing. So certainly, canceling flights to and from Europe would be exceptionally expensive for WestJet. If we had similar rules for domestic flights in Canada, and if Canada had a system of protection for passengers that is comparable to Europe, there would be far more incentive for airlines like WestJet to quickly settle with their employees and avoid strikes.
That's because they have to follow the European Union rules?
Yes, for flights departing from Europe, WestJet has to follow the EU or the UK rules. But for flights within Canada or departing from Canada to Europe, only the air passenger protections apply, and for flights to Europe, you will also have the Montreal Convention, but still that doesn't provide for a cash lump sum compensation just for out-of-pocket expenses.
Well, Gabor, let's hope that people don't have to rely on any of this and things get settled. That's some great advice. Thank you for that, Gabor. Gabor Lukacs in Halifax, passenger rights expert. Certainly glad to have you in our backyard. We'll take a break.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take a break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Well, it's 21 degrees at White Point Beach on the south shore of Nova Scotia. I wouldn't exactly call this a beach day. I mean, folks are enjoying themselves, obviously, but are they going to get a little more sunshine for the beach?
Yeah, expecting the sun to break through this weekend, coming up both Saturday and Sunday. Sunday looks like it'll be the best of the 3 days in general around the Maritime region. Quick update for you. So I want to take a look at again at this earthquake map. I've got some conflicting information right now between Earthquakes Canada and the U.S. Geological Survey about this very minor earthquake that may have occurred in northern New Brunswick. The U.S. Geological Survey actually has it as a position closer to Miramichi. That's in contrast to that information I showed you earlier, which is from Earthquakes Canada, which had it up in the St. Lawrence River Valley in through Quebec. Regardless, hoping those details get sorted out at some point here, but a minor earthquake, maybe some shaking felt from it. So that's
nobody got hurt regardless.
Yeah, I hope so. And that's just the update on that. Getting back to more active weather around the Maritime region, though, though, we still have this band of some showers and some thunderstorms. It's ongoing through parts of Nova Scotia. Just wanted to update it on radar. One of those downpours is in the vicinity of sort of the Pleasantfield area down in the southwest. That is starting to show some signs of weakening on radar, as are some of these other cells, including a few that were up and around the Enfield area and Coldstream. There's probably still some decent rainfall rates with them, but starting to diminish here on radar. And still a band of some downpours ongoing, extending up towards the North Shore. Now it's shifted a little bit away from the New Glasgow area, but it's certainly possible that, say, Antigonish, a little bit further towards the east, could get into a bit of a downpour here over the next hour. Again, this type of weather is expected to continue to diminish and come to an end as we make our way through this evening. The overnight will be cloudy periods with some patchy drizzle and fog. And at the start of the day for tomorrow, a chance of some showers around the east of Prince Edward Island, the North Shore of Nova Scotia, including New Glasgow and Antigonish, and into Guysborough County, as well as Cape Breton. Then moving from the morning into the afternoon, most of those showers will come to an end. The fog will dissipate or retreat to parts of the coast. The sun starts to break through a little bit, and it'll shine through the most through northern and western areas of New Brunswick, but even other parts of the Maritimes, especially towards the late afternoon hours. Some sunny breaks certainly possible. As we take a look at the winds in the forecast for tomorrow, they're going to be mostly out of the north and northwest and sustained in a lot of cases 10 to 20 kilometers per hour, with some occasional gusts between 20 and 40 around Prince Edward Island and eastern Nova Scotia. Now, low temperatures for tonight. They're going to be in the range around 14 to 18 degrees. Another warm, somewhat muggy night for the Maritimes. The humidity will be sticking with us into and through the upcoming long weekend. Highs tomorrow in the north of New Brunswick up between 24 and 26 degrees, but likely feeling into the low 30s with the humidex. Central and southern areas of New Brunswick with high temperatures mostly around the mid-20s, but feeling into the low 30s. Around the Bay of Fundy coastline, high temperatures mostly between 22 and 24 degrees. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow with high temperatures between about 19 and 22. You do have that chance of a shower in the morning, as does eastern areas of Nova Scotia, where in Cape Breton tomorrow the highs will be between 20 and 23 degrees, and low 20s for the North Shore and eastern shore of the province. Amherst for tomorrow, the high near 22, 23 for Truro, and 23 degrees for the city centres Halifax and Dartmouth. The Annapolis Valley tomorrow with highs near 25, but feeling near 30 with the humidex, and on the south shore of Nova Scotia, high temperatures between 22 and 25 degrees. Taking a look at the extended forecast, of course, will take us through the upcoming long weekend. So Sunday, mix of sun and cloud for New Brunswick. Very warm temperatures and still with that higher level of humidity. Showers return on Monday as a front approaches, but then Tuesday it's back over to a mix of sun and cloud, and some hot days expected next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's followed by a chance of showers on Friday. And for Nova Scotia, the forecast coming up on Sunday. Day starts off with some cloud cover and some fog, but the afternoon a mix of sun and cloud, warm and humid. And then on Monday, showers return late in the day. That system may hold over as a few showers into Tuesday morning before it clears out, then looking mostly sunny and hot for Wednesday and Thursday of next week, followed by a chance of showers on Friday. And for Prince Edward Island, coming up on Sunday, it's a mix of sun and cloud, high temperature near 26, high near 26 on Monday, with showers returning late in the day, a chance of showers Tuesday morning, and then a mix of sun and cloud follows for Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Todd.
I admit, I don't have the biggest screen in front of me. Your Monday icon, like Darth Vader, Pac-Man. What is that?
Oh, this one right here?
Yeah.
It's a barbecue.
It's a barbecue?
It's a barbecue.
Is that smoke coming?
Yeah, it's a smoke. It's a lid opening up, little smoke coming out. I didn't have a great icon for the August long weekend. Yeah. I'll have to put some work into it. So I thought, oh, I'll just throw the grill on there.
We'll see what we have in the budget for next year. Okay, thanks. We'll see you at the end of the show. Next, if your spidey senses are tingling, you know CTV film critic Richard Krause is coming up next with a look at the new Spider-Man movie. Stay with us.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter. 10 questions, 60 seconds. If you know all the answers, you're winning $1,000.
We play $1,000 Minute every weekday at 7 a.m.
The summer blockbuster movie season continues. CTV film critic Richard Krause joins us with a rundown of what's new this weekend, an abbreviated one, but we have lots to talk about. So, hi, by the way. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Let's start off with the big one, the return of everyone's favorite web slinger. It's Spider-Man, brand new day. Here's a look.
Hi, my name is Peter Parker.
I have something to tell you that's going to sound crazy. But it's the truth.
You're the Spider-Man. Well, we don't see it there, but it's Hollywood's it couple. They couldn't be any cuter. And everyone's pretty excited about this one, huh?
It's true. It's Tom Holland and Zendaya back for a second grab at the box office glory. They're both in the Odyssey as well.
No kidding.
And so I think the thing that makes this movie work so well isn't that it's action-packed, which it is. There's all the sort of big set pieces that you would expect from a big movie like this. But what makes it work is the thing that makes Peter Parker so relatable, and that is that he's not a god, he's not an eccentric billionaire, he's an everyday kid who happens to have been put in this circumstance where he has these extraordinary powers. And at the end of the last film, he realized that having these powers was putting his friends and family and nearest and dearest into danger, so he had Doctor Strange wipe everyone's mind clean of Peter Parker's existence and only concentrate on Spider-Man. So no one would go after MJ, played by Zendaya, or his best friend or whatever else. And at this beginning of this film, we find him lonely and lost and kind of adrift and wanting to maybe find a way back into the old world that he once really enjoyed but had to give up. And so that's what gives this movie its emotional core, and that's the stuff that you'll remember. The other stuff is cool. Things blow up, buildings fall down, all the stuff that you expect from a movie like this. But the good stuff here, the meat of this, is Peter Parker's emotional life. And that is, I think, what's going to blow this lid off the top of this movie. It looks like it's going to make over $400 million worldwide this weekend. It's absurd, the amount of money, but it's all about Peter Parker. So that's why I gave Spider-Man, brand new date, 4 out of 5 stars, and it's in theaters now.
Okay, let me be devil's advocate here. The BBC had this headline in its review today: Tom Holland's Spider-Man needs to evolve or quit. Pretty harsh. What do you think of that?
Well, I disagree. I mean, I think that this is Tom Holland's best performance as Spider-Man. He has gone from being a teenager into his early 20s now, probably, in terms of playing the character. And I think the character has changed. The character has realized that there are consequences to being Spider-Man. He's not cavalier about being that character. And I would think that maybe they should, whoever wrote that for the BBC, could maybe go back and have another look at this film.
Okay, great. I love it. Opposite end of the spectrum here. This film we're going to look at now is a story of loss and, I guess, artificial intelligence. Sheep in a Box. Here's a clip.
そろそろ寝ようか。おやすみ。また明日ね。
Uh-oh. Okay. Clearly something here. This is set in the near future. Why don't you give us a rundown?
Yeah, a Japanese film set in the near future about a young couple whose 7-year-old son was killed in an accident. As they're trying to find a way through their grief, they discover that there's a company that builds little robots that look and behave just like the lost loved ones. So they order one up, and he comes into their life with mixed results. You know, each of the parents behaves just a little bit differently towards this young robot that's running around. And then the robot starts to develop a sensibility all of his own, which is the real fear that everyone has about AI. And, you know, this movie has some really nice performances in it. This movie has some really interesting themes in it. But it always seems, for my money anyway, to harken back to other films like AI, Artificial Intelligence, directed by Steven Spielberg. There's Astro Boy, there's Before Yang starring Colin Farrell. Even Megan, the story of a homicidal AI, has kind of some of the same themes drifting throughout the story. So I kind of had, you know, the movie is enjoyable enough, I suppose, but I kind of had a sense of being there, done that while I was watching Sheep in the Box.
Okay. Let's talk about the season so far in the 45 seconds or so that we have. Overall, the blockbuster season, the summer season. The Odyssey, which you mentioned, continues to really run away with the summer. Toy Story just hit, what, $1 billion?
Yeah, I mean, this has been an extraordinary summer. The summer season really starts the first weekend of May. That's when we start counting, the days of summer at the movie theater. You had Project Hail Mary, you had Obsession and Backrooms, two underdogs that came out and made a lot of money. They're not making billions of dollars, but they're making hundreds of millions of dollars on very small budgets and attracting a new crowd of people. The Gen Zers are flocking to see those movies. Then you had Mario Brothers movie and Toy Story and The Odyssey and all this stuff. And what it all adds up to are two things. A, first and best week summer at the movies since 2019, which has sort of been the benchmark.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's going to put that way over after this weekend, I think. And people are going back to the movies. People realize that when you're paying $2,000 for a ticket to go see a game, you can spend $20 and go see a movie and get a great deal of entertainment and feel the sense of community that you get when you're sitting in a movie theater all watching the same thing.
It's true. Don't write the obit of the cinema just yet. Richard, thank you very much. Great seeing you. Have a great long weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon.
And we'll have more entertainment news after this. In medical news, we have details on the first case of raccoon rabies detected in a cat. CTV's Amanda Debison has the details in the Friday edition of The Lifeline.
In a first in Quebec, health officials say a case of raccoon rabies has been found in a stray cat. This was in the town of Godmanchester, in the Eastern Townships. People in the area are now being encouraged to report any raccoons or skunks that appear dead, injured, or showing unusual behavior. Owners are also being urged to vaccinate their pets for rabies. Quebec has recorded 118 cases of raccoon rabies so far this year. That's more than all of last year. Starting today, Albertans can pay for some diagnostic imaging without needing a referral from a medical professional under a new provincial program. Participating clinics will accept self-referrals for MRIs, CT scans, ultrasounds, and X-rays. Patients will pay clinics directly for the initial test, and if the scan reveals a new or previously unknown cancer diagnosis, the province may reimburse the cost at the publicly funded rate. Premier Danielle Smith says the new program is to complement Alberta's public healthcare system, not replace it. Critics and public healthcare advocates have said the plan risks dragging the province further into a two-tiered system. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for The Lifeline.
Time for the scene. We just heard about the latest blockbuster, Spider-Man, coming to theaters. That starts today. It continues a run of high-grossing summer blockbusters that have seen moviegoers flocking back to the theaters, as Richard mentioned. ABC's Laura Spencer has more on that.
It's the new age of silver screen superstars. Spider-Man, brand new day, and its star Tom Holland poised to shatter box office records. Holland starring alongside his on and off-screen love Zendaya.
He's a little weird. I'm MJ.
The pair having a massive summer, both also starring in the juggernaut The Odyssey, now grossing $700 million worldwide in just 2 weeks in theaters.
My dad is coming home.
Zendaya turned heads earlier this year in the drama.
Why are you acting like you've never done anything bad?
And she's expected to make a galactic splash in the highly anticipated Dune Part 3.
You promised me that you would never take power in your name.
And they're not the only ones ruling Hollywood. Another star of The Odyssey, Anne Hathaway, who plays Queen Penelope.
Ithaca's king is coming back.
With another massive hit earlier this year in The Devil Wears Prada 2, which began streaming this week on Disney+.
But I thought that for sure you had approved, and we're excited, and that's why I came in here all like, oh.
So, is this a sign that Hollywood is back to its golden age, where its biggest stars make the box office?
And when you look at a film like The Odyssey, Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, Zendaya, you know, these are all names that could front a film by themselves. They could all stand alone and be the driving force for why people would want to buy a ticket to see that movie.
The Dow Jones finished the trading week up 276 points, and Canada's gross domestic product beat expectations in May, posting solid growth for a second straight month. B&M Bloomberg's Christine Lee with details.
Real GDP rose 0.3% in May, lifted by a surge in oil patch activity and increased home resales. Statistics Canada reports 13 of 20 industrial sectors saw expansion during the month, helping push year-over-year economic growth up to 1.7%. Preliminary data suggests growth continued into June. Canada is on track for an estimated 0.8% expansion in the second quarter. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 71.34 US. West Texas Intermediate is up almost $1 to 84.58 US a barrel. Western Canadian Select is down over $1 to 65.85, and the TSX lost almost 280 points today. Those are your business news headlines. I'm Christine Lee.
Taylor Mitchell, on the weather deck, you were toying with the idea of taking an umbrella outside.
That's right. So it's a dark sky out here right now, and this cloud cover is spilling over from basically those showers and thunderstorms that popped up in the interior of Nova Scotia throughout the day. They are beginning to weaken and come to an end, but you know, part of the shower, part of what's left of them, could drift towards the Atlantic coastline as we make our way through this evening. Let's take a look at your picture for tonight, and this features a part of the day where weather conditions were a little bit calmer in and around Waverley. This was sent in by Elizabeth Tomlick. I want to thank Elizabeth very much for taking the time to do that. And Waverley for tomorrow, first thing in the morning, there might be a brief shower or a little bit of drizzle around. And then in the afternoon, cloudy with sunny breaks, high temperature near 23 degrees. Day planner for tomorrow around the Maritimes, the highest chance of morning showers will be in the province of Nova Scotia, especially around the east of the province, the North Shore, Eastern Shore, and Cape Breton. Clearing will start first in the province of New Brunswick, especially western and northern areas of New Brunswick. In the afternoon, a mix of sun and cloud in general around the region, a lot of high temperatures in the low to mid-20s. Let's find out what's ahead on your Morning Atlantic.
Tuesday on your Morning Atlantic, let's work out.
Grab your sneakers and join us at Anytime Fitness. From experienced lifters to someone's first visit, we'll learn more about the 24-hour gym.
Tuesday on your Morning Atlantic, live on CTV2 and Crave.
She looks familiar. Finally tonight, we have an Alaska man who is sharing his living room with bees. Of course. That's beekeeper Tim Huffman. He says he can't see inside his outdoor beehives. So what did he do? He put a glass one inside his living room. Huffman has tens of thousands of bees, so he looked into getting what's called an observation hive. With an outdoor pipe, the bees can come and go as they please, so Tim can keep an eye on all his bees from the comfort of his sofa. All right, good for Tim. That is our look at the day here at home. Stephanie Seacos is here at 11:30. We're back Tuesday at 6. CTVNewsAtlantic.ca has our reporting over the long weekend. We leave you this evening in Torbay Provincial Park, Geismar County, Nova Scotia, with the names of everyone who works on this show each night. I'm Todd Battis. Have a good night.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.